I really enjoyed this one. This is just, it's nice.
So
it's
delicious.
If you don't like the overly malty Oktoberfests,
It's not.
it's not, right?
It has a little more sweetness than most. Inspired by the adventures of our nurses, therapists, and techs, A Beer with Atlas is the only healthcare traveling, craft beer drinking podcast. Each week, we'll open a few beers, talk about the brewery and the style of beer, and then dive into some research curated specifically for each episode. In the end, we hope each one sounds like a conversation you'd have with your friends while enjoying a few cold ones.
Oktoberfest. Welcome to another episode of A Beer with Atlas. I'm Rich.
I'm Brian.
I'm Dolan.
I'm super excited.
Yeah, me too.
This is one of my favorite times of year. You said it right before we got on here. This is one of the best times for beer drinkers of the year.
It's a great entryway, too, to craft beer, because these aren't, like, super hoppy. And
No.
they're not, dark, like coal. It's approachable style.
If you generally like the Pilsner or Lager or, the easy-to-drink ones, like you said, you can ease right into an Oktoberfest.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing scary about them. They're a little maltier.
They're maltier, but it's just flavor, It's, yeah.
Ooh. I like that.
That's a good sign. Oh, look at
it wouldn't be a podcast if you didn't spill.
If I didn't spill it all over the table.
Yep.
So, courtesy of, again, our friend Aaron Biddle, we've got an Oktoberfest from Logboat Brewing Company called Knot Hole,
like on a tree.
like on a tree, knot, K-N-O-T, hole.
Yeah.
Oktoberfest from, like I said, Logboat Brewing Company. So I did my research kind of like, no, wait a minute, they're from Colombia.
Uh-huh.
How do we get these in St. Louis? Like, that's a far enough, stretch for a microbrew that started, so for a craft place that started in 2014, so not too long ago, 6 years, but now they've got distribution in St. Louis. So,
ooh, that's really good.
is it? I have.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, I'm gonna drink some.
Oh, jeez.
Oh,
I
it
haven't
smells
even got
good.
mine open yet.
It smells.
Mine did the same thing.
I know, right? That's somebody called that something. I can't remember it online one time, but. Oh yeah, that's malty and sweet.
It's got a little sweetness to it. It's kind of biscuity.
Oh, man. Fall in a can.
Oh,
Yeah.
man. Okay, so Logboat Brewing Company is located at 504 Fay Street in Columbia, Missouri. Closed on Mondays, like any good brewery should be. Mm-hmm. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 3 to 9. Friday, Saturday, 1 to 10. And Sunday, 1 to 7. Like I said, founded in 1914. Founded in 2014.
Oh, yeah.
No. I'm just so excited for the Oktoberfest.
Yeah.
Founded in 2014 by Tyson Hunt, Judson Ball. Judson, that's a good name.
That is a good name.
Judson.
You don't hear that too much.
No, and Andrew Sharp. Tyson started homebrewing, got these two guys involved. They borrowed some money from a bank there in Columbia, and then they walked out and started brewing some beer. And it's taken off for them ever since.
Apparently so. Now, I think that, I don't know, Oktoberfest in a can, I think I'm a fan of,
Yeah.
I noticed they said on this one, this comes out in July or August, so it's early. It's early into the marketplace. Probably one of the first ones.
Here's the thing. I have a rule now, though, that I can't drink an Oktoberfest until August. I don't want to let go of the summer beers.
Yeah.
As much as I love the Oktoberfest beers, there are so many good lime lagers and things I just don't want to let go. Yeah. Oh,
hazy IPAs.
I don't want to let go of.
I mean, I had a neighbor already putting up Halloween stuff, like maybe second week of August.
Nice.
So,
Wow.
That's good.
I mean, Halloween decorations are up. Oktoberfest must be cool,
Well,
right?
you're speaking Brian's language right there.
You are. You know what I haven't had yet, though? I mean, what are we in right now? I don't even know what day it is. September?
Mid-September, yeah.
I haven't had a pumpkin beer yet.
I haven't either.
Which is okay. But I have had some Oktoberfest.
Are you a fan of the pumpkin beers?
Yeah.
So specifically on the can, it has a pumpkin with the line through it.
Yeah.
Like no pumpkin.
It's
Pumpkin busters.
This you're not getting no pumpkin from this.
I guess no.
It's too bad.
But
that's okay because
that's fine.
it's a good Oktoberfest.
Yeah.
Malty Amber Lager.
So after 2 years, they expanded their distribution to the St. Louis market. So that's how Biddle could get this there in St. Louis. Not that there's a huge distance between Columbia and St. Louis. It's just there's a lot of craft breweries in St. Louis already.
Oh, yeah.
It would be a tough market to break into, I think.
Missouri is chock full. I mean, we've done a lot of beers from Missouri and a lot of different breweries, and this is one that we've never seen a beer from.
Nope. Right.
Did you see this on the side?
Okay.
They talk a little smack about pumpkins. Oh. It says, inspired by the Germans, this delicious amber lager will perk your toe straight through the top of your boot. Best enjoyed around a fire with snacks. Pumpkins, although good in seed form with a hint of salt, do not make an appearance in this beer. And for good reason, we prefer carving them. Please enjoy. It's like a little pumpkin shade.
They're not, they don't like the pumpkin beer.
Wow.
I like the pumpkin beer.
I do too.
I don't mind the pumpkin beer. It's not one that I'm like, oh, yeah.
Right.
Look, pumpkin's on the shelf or whatever.
I think it's tied to Oktoberfest for me. It's just that time of the same time of year you get them. So I usually get pretty pumped. So did you see on their website? I did this research a while ago, so some of my notes I don't even remember what they mean, but this one I wrote down either must have been right from the website or I just had this movie tie-in idea.
Okay.
So much room for activities. Wasn't that on there?
I actually wrote this down.
Okay.
Lots of room for activities. I like these guys.
Bocce ball.
Yeah. Have you ever played bocce ball?
Oh, yeah.
I don't even know
fun.
how to play.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, my wife plays that all the time with her family. That's where I actually learned it. And in fact, every time I go there to play it, I have to relearn it because that's how much I pay attention during bocce ball.
I don't know how. I don't.
It's kind of like a mixture of horseshoes and shuffleboard. I'd say is the best way.
Yeah, you try to get, there's a ball already there, and then you have to roll your ball to try to get close
as
to
you
it.
can. It's like a croquet ball, and you try to get as close as you can to that. And that's why it's like horseshoes, because the closer you get, the more points you get. And it's a team situation.
And you knock other people's balls away, and
Like crochet.
Yeah,
Like
it's like shuffleboard in that way.
croquet.
Yeah, kind of.
My grandma taught me how to play croquet. She had a little croquet set in her backyard.
Oh, yeah.
And, yeah. I mean, she wasn't nearly that fancy. For whatever reason, she had a croquet set, and we knew how to, like, with the mallet and
those tiny, thin wire horseshoe-looking things that were great to trip on.
Oh yeah.
They also had cornhole at this place and frisbees, which seems dangerous, but also frisbees. Have you ever played that game, the frisbee game, where you drink beer at the same time?
Polish horseshoes.
Yeah,
yes.
that one's pretty fun.
I love that.
Oh,
game.
with the pole and the beer, on top, a beer bottle on top. Yeah.
Love it.
Love it. That's a great river.
My brother-in-law and I dominated some Polish horseshoes one time.
Wow.
It was
Drinking games, man, they're so great.
Fantastic.
They got my attention. They got wood-fired homemade pizzas at this joint.
Yes, they do.
Oh boy.
You know what it reminds me of? If you look at that, and actually I had to look it up. If you look, their kind of yard patio looks like Odell in New Belgium there in Fort Collins.
Yeah, which kind of looks like Surly.
Does it? Is that what Surly looks like?
Surly's is really cool.
That's the glass.
That's where I got my Octoberfest little mug here.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I thought it was just. I went back and looked because it's been a few years since we've been to Odell and New Belgium. I'd go back again. But
New Belgium was a lot of fun. I remember their tap room was a lot of fun.
So cool.
The wood for the tap room, I found this interesting. In the place here was old wood from a Horace Mann schoolhouse in Kansas City, Missouri.
Oh.
And I'd heard that name before, Horace Mann, but I didn't know exactly what it was. So I did a little research on that. And basically, it was like a preparatory school, and they were all across, kind of like a Montessori style, like that sort of vein. Mm-hmm. But they were mostly on the East Coast, and then they kind of moved Midwest. This was like 1887, I think, is when some of the schools were founded.
Okay.
And then they ran up through the 40s, like World War II time, and then they kind of fell off. But it was like a alternative to go into a public school, maybe. Mm-hmm. But that's in Kansas City. They had one, and they salvaged a bunch of the wood from like the floors and stuff, and that's what they use in their tap room.
Did you see the part? I thought this was interesting too. Like they were very they're very made in the USA kind of guys. And they wanted they were trying to buy brewing equipment, and every place said, nope, you got to buy it from China. Like, you got to get it from China or whatever. They're like, no, we're not doing this. And they finally found a metal fabricator that could do it for them. And so they did a lot of it themselves, which I thought was super cool. That, hey, the easy way is just buy it from China.
Yeah. It's probably cheaper. I mean, I know there's
way
a
cheaper
manufacturing company in Lincoln that makes brewing setups.
But maybe,
Yeah.
Is it more expensive, less expensive? I don't
guess
know.
it's more.
Probably.
But you also get to say that you got it made here in the USA. I think Boiler uses some of their stuff.
Yeah.
They also have food trucks. I wrote this down because I don't know what it means. South Florida style chicken and ribs.
What?
So maybe like Cuba and Haiti spiced sort of situation.
So
I'm guessing
a little hotter, maybe a little spicier.
Maybe like citrusy, not so much like North Carolina, South Carolina barbecue style, but more like island style maybe.
It wouldn't be spicy, but I bet you'd have a little bit of like cumin.
Yeah.
I
wasn't sure, but it looked good. The picture I saw looked pretty good. So.
South American flair without the spice.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say no.
I mean, I would eat it.
Right.
And then I think, was it this beer? It talked about pairing it with a bunch of stuff. I don't know if that was this one. I don't know. But we're about ready to go down some sort of crazy wormhole here on my research. So whatever you got next.
I did see 2019 they opened a second location at 604 Nebraska Avenue.
Oh.
So shout out.
There we go. 2 locations.
Yeah, 2
Nice.
locations now, which are very close to each other.
Yeah.
They called this one though an adult version of Willy Wonka. So they said we're gonna, like, and they didn't say this. I assume they're gonna do some crazy shit there because they haven't done any. They didn't do sours. They hadn't done any barrel age, nothing, because the place they were in was maybe not big enough.
You're right. Yeah.
And so they're also producing their own hard cider there, and out of a separate company called Waves Cider Company.
Okay.
Waves, like ocean waves,
like the Ozark Lake.
Oh, maybe
What's
yeah.
that called?
Waves.
Yeah. So they're producing their own cider there. Oh, have we done? This sounded familiar. Have we done a beer from Four Hands Brewing Company?
Yes, we have. I believe
We've done
have.
Four Noses from
wait.
Colorado, but
Yeah,
Four Hands is St. Louis.
I've definitely drank Four Hands beer.
I have too.
But I don't know if we've done an episode or not.
We may not. They in 2018 they did it was either a pale or an IPA, a collab with Four Hands called Yeah Boy. Yeah, BOUY, like
a buoy.
Buoy.
Yeah.
Yeah, boy.
If we did, I bet
funny.
Biddle gave us that beer.
He probably did too.
If we did one.
So,
That's how far we're into these shows now. We're like, I don't even know what we did.
I don't
anymore.
remember. We might have done that.
Can't tell.
But they've won 3 Great American Beer Fest medals too.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They won a gold, a silver, and a bronze. The
You know,
gold.
Hard it would be just to get one.
Right.
With all these breweries now.
Yep.
We have done a Four Hands.
We have? What was it?
Decline.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, the pineapple.
Yes.
Yeah.
The SpongeBob one.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yes.
We knew we'd done one.
There you go.
Good job on the research there.
Right on. See, that's why he's a good producer.
He's a tech guy, man.
Yep.
He's all over it.
I'm
Real
not a-
time.
Not a tech guy, but
You're a producer.
Well, you're definitely the technology guy out of the 3 of us here.
I'm not running a little thing, making sure everybody sounds
I can
good.
barely get my headphones on.
Right.
Well, I was like, okay, we've done so much Missouri. And
Right.
is this the one that's... Yeah, this is in Columbia. So that's like where the university is
Yes.
at, right?
yeah, college town.
And then I took a little inspiration from the can, and I was like, I am pretty sure I know what this is all about.
Okay. With this weird sort of...
Yeah, this guy with a raccoon-looking tail and a boot, and then I did a little research on the town of Columbia, and it all linked together.
Really?
Daniel Boone.
Oh.
Daniel Boone, born 11/2/1734.
No way.
Yeah, died 9/26/1820. Guess where he ended up his last couple days of life?
He was old.
Columbia, Missouri.
Really?
Yes. So that's where he came to die. But he lived there for quite a while. So here's a little story on Daniel Boone, because all I knew about him was like some black and white movie stuff and like the coonskin cap. that sort of
Yeah.
stuff. Like, that's all I knew. So I got a whole bunch of stuff because it was interesting.
If you grew up in Kansas, it's Dan'l. Dan'l Boone.
Dan'l Boone.
Dan'l.
Okay.
It was D-N-L.
Just forget the I's there, or
Yeah,
what?
you don't pronounce the vowels.
Okay.
I grew up with a Dan'l.
Wow. All right. Well, there we go. Learned something new today. They say he was an American pioneer, explorer, woodsman, and frontiersman. Now, we don't have those job titles anymore. There's nothing to explore. There's no forest to chop down. You can't just go make a sod house anymore. Those are done. But he was one of the first to do it.
Woodsman and frontiersman, I would think,
Yeah.
are synonymous, but okay.
Yeah. And then it says he was one of the very first folk heroes of the United States, which he's one of those names that kids know about in school, probably just at least hear about, like helped make America bigger than it was.
Sure.
Most famous for his exploration and settlement of what became Kentucky. So he started out, I think, in North Carolina area, and then took his family and then moved to what wasn't Kentucky at that time, but helped found it. Yeah, and then so that was in 1784, around that time. So he's late 40s,
Sure.
almost. He gets popular. People start to find out about him. And he wrote a book about himself, which you do.
Well,
You know,
sure.
if you can toot your own horn, toot it.
Well, autobiography.
Right.
Right.
It was all about his adventures, all the cool stuff he did. And then in 1799, he moved to eastern Missouri, and it was then owned by Spain, and it was part of the Louisiana Purchase.
Oh.
So it was like Spanish land, but he kind of squatted on it, basically, like other people were doing.
Well, he's Daniel Boone.
And he had land claims, right?
Sure.
And then he was mad before he died because the United States bought the land, right? They did the Louisiana Purchase. And because of that, he lost all his land claim rights because he had them through Spain. And so he had to sell all his land to the United States to pay off a bunch of debts that he had. So he kind of was like broke, basically, after a long life.
For the same crappy price that we paid for the Louisiana Purchase.
Yeah,
Like,
so then
whatever that
like,
was.
They were like, "Oh, your deal is null and void.
Sorry.
We own this now. We are the landlord."
And here's
the
a
rent
penny.
just went up. Yeah.
Oh,
But you
never
can
mind
be a-
all the cool stuff you've done for
You
the
can
country.
be a hero, but you got to pay or get out.
Get out.
So some of the things that I found that are named after him, Daniel Boone, there's a Daniel Boone National Forest. So that's like not a national park, but close.
Okay.
Boone, North Carolina, which is kind of where he's from.
Wow.
There are lots of Boonevilles in the United States. Those are all named after him. And then there's 7 counties that are named Boone County. And I know this because I do a lot of background checks at work here. And the one in West Virginia hits a lot. Boone County, West Virginia. So we got Illinois, Indiana, Nebraska, West Virginia, Missouri, Arkansas, and Kentucky all have Boone counties. Let's see, do I have a year? No. There's a book that was called The Adventures of Colonel Daniel Boone. And it was basically a fluff piece that was made to make immigrants want to move to Kentucky. So it was like a reason to come to the United States and get land.
Oh.
So they wrote this big puff piece about how awesome Kentucky is, and he was the star of this book. In 1833, so is he still alive at that time? No, he's been dead for about 10 years.
Okay.
A biographical memoir comes out, and it's called The Daniel Boone, First Settler of Kentucky. And
How was it? What, Kentucky?
Kentucky.
Kentucky.
Kentucky. That's how I pronounce it. That's not from Kansas, but that's how I do. It was full of embellished stories and tall tales. So he apparently had a fist fight with a bear and won in Kentucky.
Well, duh.
And he escaped from savage Native Americans by swinging on vines. So kind of like Tarzan.
Oh,
He was
like
like the
Tarzan.
Tarzan of Kentucky.
Oh. What vines are in Kentucky?
I don't think, none that I know of. But if you're reading this in North Carolina or you're in Ireland or something, you're like, wow, I've got to get to this place. This sounds amazing. Last of the Mohicans. Ever seen or heard about that?
Yes, I have.
That's a fictionalized rescue of him saving his daughter who was kidnapped by the Native Americans.
Really?
Yeah. Another book came out in 1826, so right after he died, 2 years. 1936 was the first time he was made into a movie, black and white movie.
Okay.
Right after the silent movies were over. And then in this is what I kind of was aware of in the 60s, 64 to 70, there was a black and white and then to color TV show. And it featured him wearing the coonskin cap. And that's why a lot of people think of him wearing one.
Okay.
He never wore one. There's no history of him ever having one. Nothing like that, which is maybe why there's that little raccoon tail there.
I guess.
And then this part blew my mind.
Okay. Because
I
I just
thought-
blew my mind with the he never wore a coonskin cap.
Well,
I
I
mean,
thought I knew a lot of stuff.
Okay.
And there's a baseball tie-in.
Okay. Okay.
He's related to Ray Boone, Bob Boone, Brett Boone, and Aaron Boone.
No.
They are direct descendants.
Not a chance.
Daniel Boone.
Of Daniel Boone.
Do they wear the caps?
Aaron Boone might.
I bet Aaron does.
He probably has a Yankees one. with
Probably.
the coonskin thing hanging off the back.
yeah.
The old raccoon tail. But yeah, they're directly related to Daniel Boone.
No
Which I thought was
way.
pretty cool.
That is super cool.
That'd be neat when you're, a kid and it's like history time at school and you're like, oh, by the way,
Yeah.
he was my great uncle or whatever it would have been. But
Wow.
yeah, so he's like American, like kind of like a Paul Bunyan, except he actually was alive.
Did he have a blue ox or no? Is that and a big axe?
Babe.
And,
Nah, I think Paul Bunyan did, but Daniel
His
Boone,
ox
no.
was swinging on the vines with him.
I guess. Weird. What vines are you?
I don't know, man. That's just
they
amazing.
grow like anything on a vine in Kentucky?
I don't think so.
No.
Because for the most part, it's like, isn't there
Hills and
mountains and
yeah.
hills?
Yeah.
And yeah.
It's interesting. But, I mean, obviously, we take everything for granted. We can look up something as he did during the conversation, right? On his
Right.
phone. He's like, oh,
Right.
we did this episode.
Yep.
1826? You've probably taken somebody's word for it. You're never going to
yeah.
see it. You're never going to Kentucky.
No.
You might read about it in a book or a magazine.
Well, and we
that's
didn't-
as good as you're going to get.
And I mean, nobody else was there. It was owned by Spain, right? I mean,
Yeah, there's
Right.
no people. It wasn't a state. So it's just
Wow.
like, I got to imagine that was happening all over the place, right?
Yeah.
And that's most people's entertainment, if they could read,
Right.
was reading books or magazines, Like,
Yep.
everybody nowadays is just on the phone or playing games or whatever. And back then, you're probably reading a book at candlelight.
Right.
All these adventures of these great American explorers and stuff. Who was the guy that did the Alamo?
Yeah.
It reminds me of him. Who was that? Davy Crockett.
Davy Crockett.
Yeah.
Similar sort of like
Yeah.
from the kind of Midwest.
Yep.
Moved west.
Has the same hat.
Had a cool hat. Probably
Yeah.
fought some people. Punched a bear. That sort of stuff.
Well, didn't he fight in the Alamo?
I think I don't.
Yeah.
When
And he
the-
was like a senator or
For real, I don't know if
representative
he
later,
did.
wasn't he?
There's a story about it. Remember?
Well, I went to the Alamo and we watched a whole thing on it, and I thought it's been so long, but I thought,
Isn't it weird how the Alamo is just like in the middle of some normal stuff now? It's just like this normal block,
it is.
regular buildings, and then there's the Alamo right there. You're just like, weird. Doesn't
Oh
fit in.
man, I bought some drumsticks that have the Alamo printed on them. Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. They were
they had
there,
'em?
and we were on a band trip, and I was like, "This is the perfect time to get
This
Alamo
is-
drumsticks."
Why not?
The perfect
Yeah.
time. If you see it, you got to buy it.
I think it's crazy enough that they have drumsticks with the Alamo printed
Yeah.
on them.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Man, that's a lot of merch.
I used them
I
to
guess.
play. We did like a little like concert thing at Six Flags.
Oh boy.
And so yeah, I bought some Alamo drumsticks and I played them.
Did you play snare or what?
Yeah, I played snare. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I always
right.
wanted to play snare.
And
Couldn't
you
have
know
one
what?
of them.
No, that year I switched to quads. I was on quads.
Oh, even better.
Yeah.
Were those heavy to carry? Did you have to
yeah,
carry them?
they were heavy.
Were you in the drum line?
Yeah, well, I was. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
First chair, baby.
Wow.
Yeah, well, I went to a school with like 60 kids in my class. So.
He's like, well, he's the only one that knows how to hold
Yeah.
the drumsticks. So
How many
first
chairs
chair.
they have for drums? Well, one.
Well, we have
The
one set of
first chair.
quads.
Oh, we had 8. We had 8.
Wow, that's like
Yeah.
a fifth of the. Wow, that's great. Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you.
So Boone County in Nebraska
Mm-hmm.
is just west of Columbus. So Albion,
Yes.
Nebraska.
Oh, that's right. Boone Central. That's the high school there.
Oh, there
There
Boone
you go.
Central.
That's because of
I
old
don't know.
Daniel Boone.
Well, I don't know what's in the water there, but they're all giant. Like,
Well,
Tall tales.
tall tale. Yeah.
and I don't mean like fat. I mean like built.
like big dudes.
Big
They're
guys.
Farmer community, I guess. you
Well,
know?
strong
that
guys.
happens. And, Right.
If you're going to punch a bear or rip a tree out of the ground, you got to be big.
Right.
I guess.
Well, if you grew up in Boone County, I guess you gotta
Just in
make the legend live on, right?
right. Otherwise, they kick you out of town. So that's what I got for our Daniel Boone research.
This
today.
might be one of the. Do we know? Do we have an ABV?
6. I
That's
believe.
it.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, here we go. There it is.
6. That's it.
That's it.
That's how you know we're into craft beer.
Yes.
Yeah.
The other day, my parents came up for just to visit.
Yep.
And we had some dessert, some brownies.
Okay.
And my mom is a fan of the big stouts, which has shocked me.
Really?
I bet I saw her drink a beer twice in my whole life until about 5 years ago.
Oh.
And now she loves barrel-aged stouts. So every time she comes, I always have to get one of my good bottles out.
That's
So
like
this-
the deep end.
Yeah.
Like she just jumped right in.
Oh, yeah. And then this weekend I got one out, and it was like 11% maybe.
Yeah.
And she was just like, oh, yeah. That's real good. And I was just, yeah, this is how far we've come, even as a family. So 6%, that's nothing. That's training wheels.
Well, I mean, some parts of Kansas would freak out about it, right?
Well, that's true. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Daniel Boone would be drunk on this one beer.
I really enjoyed this one. This is just. It's nice. It's
So delicious.
If you don't like the overly malty Oktoberfests,
It's not.
it's not right.
It has a little more sweetness than most. I really enjoy this one. This is a really good beer.
It's a great. Yeah.
If this was in Nebraska, I would buy this every year for sure.
a lot.
It is good.
Yeah, like if you're used to just, let's say, Sam Adams Oktoberfest, right? Because that's most readily available probably for everybody. This is a lighter, less malty version of that
Yeah.
of the Oktoberfest style, American Oktoberfest style.
Yeah, American. Yeah.
Yeah,
We're living in the time of, and Dolan could probably talk about this a little bit better than we could, but right now there's a song that's just taken over the country. And this reminds me of it because their logo says, keep your paddle wet.
okay.
And that's, just
Yeah.
neither here nor there. It's timely.
I got you. You want to keep your paddle in the water, then, right?
Right.
You want to stay. You want to stay in the
Well,
water.
Well, at
you're a logboat.
At the time of this recording, we'll see how long that song stays number one.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
I think it's just a fad, but we'll see.
Me too. I hope it's a fact.
That's what I thought about Old Town Road.
Well,
And look at that.
And then that broke records, right?
Yeah, it was like 20 weeks or something.
yeah. Well, there we. All right. So, okay, let's look this up on Untapped and see.
I already know where I'm going with this thing. This is a 4.25 for me.
Ooh.
Wow.
Now, I did see some the other day. I was at the store looking for, not Oktoberfest, but something else. Some stouts.
Okay.
And I saw some barrel-aged Oktoberfest. And
Whoa.
I thought, ooh, now there's something I need to get into.
Okay.
I think it was Founders, maybe, or it was somebody like that. Somebody Midwestern. Barrel-aged.
Barely. I mean, what would you...
It went up to 10%. So, I mean, a little whiskey in this.
whiskey barrel? Yeah.
Weird.
That wouldn't be bad.
So interesting. Way more check-ins than I thought it would have. 1,543.
Well, if it's won awards, I mean, I guess I can see that.
Yeah. Okay. So this one in particular has not.
Oh,
But-
okay.
But there 3 of their other beers have. So,
Okay.
Yeah. Actually, 2 of their other beers. Their mild ale won 2 years in a row, bronze and then silver, and then they had a Belgian blonde that won gold.
So they really are all about that, like European-y style.
Yeah. A mild ale. It's like a 4%.
So it's like a session. But
Makes me wonder what they're going to do in their new location.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 1,543 check-ins. What do you say?
3.8.
I'm going to go 376.
373.
That seems low. That's
it does
low.
seem
It
low.
does. Yeah.
And I wonder why. I wonder because this is. I don't. Maybe you're looking for a.
I mean, a 3.5, 3.75 is a fair. I mean, I'm going to give it a 4. So.
I went 4.25
Yeah.
as well. I liked it enough for.
I mean, I like this so much that if it was around, I would buy it.
Yeah.
And this would be a staple if it was in Nebraska.
Yeah.
For
Yeah,
sure.
I definitely would. Like it's one that I would just have in the beer fridge to Oh, you want to try a decent Oktoberfest? Here you go.
Here you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
You
I don't
wanna
like
show off with your
Oktoberfest.
friends.
Well,
Yeah.
maybe you should try this one.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Yeah. So, all right. So, week 1 of 4 on Oktoberfest. Oddly enough, next week we're going back to Missouri, courtesy of Dolan.
Maybe we just stayed in Missouri the whole time.
Well, maybe we just stayed there the whole time.
We're going to cause some mayhem next episode.
Oh, boy. See what he did there.
I see. If you're familiar with the, looks like we might have some more bicycle conversation. Who knows?
Maybe.
We'll see. I don't know. So, all right, Brian, we're not going anywhere for a while.
Let's have another Oktoberfest.
Thank you for listening to A Beer with Atlas. Special thanks to our brand team for producing the show. Each episode of A Beer with Atlas is powered by Atlas MedStaff, an industry leader in travel healthcare staffing.